How's it going, my fellow collectors? I am back again with another Hot Toys figure review. And you're probably thinking, didn't he already do a review on this figure? I understand why you would think that, but short answer, no. So this is the Hot Toys Darth Maul 2.0. It is the MMS 748, whereas the other Darth Maul that I did a review on, that was the Hot Toys DX16, which is kind of weird that this isn't a DX, but that one is, because it's pretty much the same thing. Like, it has all the same accessories, hardly anything different about it. They all they really did was improvements on it, and that's it. Basically the same figure. But anyway, we'll get into it. Starting off with the source information as usual. So, since I did do a review on the DX16 Darth Maul, I did go over the source information on that movie. So, since I did already go over the source information on that figure, I'm going to give it the same score that I give this one. It's going to be an 8 out of 10. Alright, so stick with me, guys, and we'll roll on to the next category. Okay, so we've made it to the category of packaging. And so this packaging is not the packaging that the Darth Maul with the speeder bike comes with. This is just the edition that just comes with Darth Maul himself. No speeder bike. So we're gonna start as usual, give you a rundown of how it looks. So in the front center here, you got a picture of the figure. I believe this is a prototype, I'm not sure. But yeah, you get him front and center there with the snarling face. You get the Star Wars logo there with the reflective chrome finish. And it's got the V pattern, as all Hot Toys Star Wars boxes comes. Same theme. And you get the cigar band that wraps around the whole front cover. This time it's in a red color. You get the picture of the figure again right there on the bottom right with the probe droid right behind him. It says Star Wars MMS 748 Darth Maul 1/6 scale collectible figure. You get the Hot Toys movie Masterpiece logo on the bottom left, and the Hot Toys logo on the bottom right. And then on one side, nothing going on. As I said, the cigar band wraps around, and then it says the same thing that it says in the front. And on the other side, another picture of the figure wearing the robe. You get the Disney logo on the bottom left. And then again, same thing as what it says in the front. So on the top, you get another Star Wars logo. Bottom, again, Star Wars logo. On the back, on the very top, it says Hot Toys Presents Movie Masterpiece Series, and then the movie Masterpiece logo below that. And then MMS 748 Darth Maul 1/6 scale collectible figure. You get the Disney seal quality sticker here. And get the Hot Toys logo and all of the retail stores where they sell Hot Toys products. And then below that, you get the warnings and choking hazards that nobody really reads. On the very bottom, you get the barcode. And then once we remove the cover, you get a slip cover, I guess you would call it, that is pretty cool. It's got really nice artwork, and it does involve the figure. And so, you know, you get Darth Maul right there without his robe. And in the background, there's zoom in on his portrait with him wearing the hood from his robe. And then on the bottom, it says Star Wars MMS 748 Darth Maul 1/6 scale collectible figure. Once you remove that, you get the clamshell showing the figure and all of its accessories. But of course, I've taken it out. And that's about it. So, pretty cool. As I said before, it's in theme with the rest of the Hot Toys Star Wars figures and boxes. So yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it the same score that I give every generic Star Wars Hot Toys figure. And that is a 6 out of 10. So, you know, like I said, it's generic. It's not very different from any other Star Wars Hot Toys box that we've already gotten, which is kind of puzzling. It brings me back to what I was saying before about this not being a DX figure. I don't know why they couldn't have just, you know, given us the DX treatment, given us that fancy box that we got before. But oh well. Alright, so that does it for packaging. Now we're going to move to the next category. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of likeness. And I'm just going to tell you guys straight off the bat that this likeness blows me away. It's really good. If you compare it to the likeness from the DX16, it doesn't even hold a candle to this. The DX16, to me, the likeness from that seemed more like animation style. You know, something that you would see on the Clone Wars show or something like that. Like CG or something. And this one actually does look like Ray Park and what he looked like in the Phantom Menace. So, real good job, Hot Toys. Like, you can see in the DX16, like his tattoos, they were more, I think they were indented into the head sculpt. Whereas this looks like, you know, more like a tattoo, where it's just on the skin. It's not actually engraved. Like a tattoo that's just, you know, with regular ink. And that's perfect because that's how it was in the movie, so. And then To me, the DX16 looked, the head looked too fat, like too round, whereas this one is more narrow and slimmer. So that's good. Yeah, it definitely looks a lot more like Ray Park. And, you know, Hot Toys deserves a pat on the back for that. So, yeah, real good. And then we'll take a look at the neutral head sculpt, too. Here it is. I think probably the neutral head sculpt looks even more like him than the angry, snarling head. But yeah, it's definitely a huge upgrade to the DX16. The paint jobs and everything looks really good. The horns. Yeah, real good job, Hot Toys. The only downside that I have a problem with, maybe not everybody has the problem with it, but they didn't put the magnetic attachment that goes on the neck. This time they had a clip. Let me show you on the neutral head sculpt. So yeah, there's a clip on the neck, on the ball joint, that clips into that hole right there. So that makes for less articulation than the magnet did that the DX16 had. So I think that was a step backward. But, you know, that pretty much means that they're not compatible with each other. So you can't put the DX16 head sculpt on the on this body, and you can't put these head sculpts on the DX16 body. So yeah. But yeah, so getting back to the likeness, I'm gonna say that it's 100%. You know, Darth Maul, what he looked like in the movie. So I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Excellent likeness. All right, so that does it for that category. Now we're gonna move on to the next one. All right, so now we've made it to the category of outfit. And once again, Hot Toys made significant improvements on the outfit compared to the DX16. It feels like a smaller sized outfit compared to the DX16 to accommodate the slimmer body that they used, which was an amazing idea to do that, because I think the DX16's outfit was baggier. So yeah. But we'll start as usual from the top and work our way to the bottom. So he's got the standard tunic, which the DX16 had. But like I said, it's just in a slightly smaller size. Of course, they removed the fat suit that that the DX16 had, to appear in this slimmer look. But other than that, I don't see any other changes that they really made from the DX16 to this. Um, so yeah, it's an all black outfit. The gloves, they work the same way as the DX16. There's a cut between uh, the hand and the forearm of the glove piece. So right here is the split. It does still have that leather cover that goes over the wrist peg, which I'm afraid with time, the more you handle the figure, the more it's gonna degrade. Which is the downside to having leather or pleather pieces. And I'm not sure if it's leather or pleather. But anyway, same for the belt. It looks the same as the DX16. It might be different. I'm not sure. So yeah, and then it still has those studs on either side, and they do give you extras just in case those fall off. And he still has the slot where you can put his lightsaber when he's not using it. And the lower half of his tunic, it still has all the same wires that the DX16 had. So you can manipulate it however you want. As you can see, I have it in just, all over the place right now because he's kind of in a dynamic pose. So yeah. And the pants, again, they're slimmer than the DX16 ones. They don't look as baggy. But other than that, they're the same pants. Yeah. Same goes for the boots. They look the same, but slightly different paint applications. They gave it more weathering for both boots. So there's more dirt and all that because he was walking through the sands of Tatooine, so. But on mine, I don't know. I think there's a little too much of a gap. Yeah, you can tell right there. So there's like a slight defect. But oh well, it's nothing that big. It's not like I'm gonna return it because of that. But yeah. Yeah, same boots as the DX16. I think there's a half a cut in the ankle for the boots. So you can articulate it a little better. It's still limited, so you can't get his feet flat on the ground in certain poses. Like this one, his feet aren't flat on the ground. So I think you will need to keep the stand or a base of some kind to give him support. Otherwise he'll fall over. So yeah. But yeah, then he also comes with this robe. And this is a whole new robe. It's nothing like the DX16 robe. They did an outstanding job on this robe, I think. Compared to the DX16, that one was kind of bad, I gotta say, because The pleats were too big, kind of looked like an accordion. And yeah, this one is much better. It hugs his body a lot better, better fit. They made the pleats smaller. They still have the wire and the hood, so you can manipulate that to make it fit on his head good. It's still sewn the back of the hood here to his back. So yeah. But you know, as you saw in the beginning of the review, it fits him perfectly, so there's no issues with this robe. The only minor nitpick I have about it is that it might have been a little too short because I think it only reaches his ankles. So yeah, if it just had been maybe half an inch longer, I would have been happy. But yeah, I think it was just a tad bit too short. So yeah, um, because of that, I think they could have taken this opportunity to improve the boots. Maybe actually give it a full ankle cut instead of half of one. I think it would have improved the figure even more. That way we can get real good articulation on the ankles, and we don't even need a base or a stand to help him stand up. So yeah. So because of that, I think I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That's it for the outfit. As you can see, I got him here in a dynamic pose, as I said before. So yeah. That does it for the category of outfit, guys. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of articulation. And it's pretty much the exact same body as the DX19. But like I said before, they removed the fat suit that one had. So it makes it look a little slimmer, but it's the same body. We'll start off as usual from the top and make our way down all the way to the bottom. Like I said before, they replace the magnetic feature that you use to attach the head with the magnet. They replace that with a ball joint. So it doesn't have the same articulation as the DX19. Very limited now. You can still get a full 360-degree turn all the way around, but when you try to make them look up or down, it's limited. And also, you have to be careful when you do make it look down, because you can indent the neck with the chin, and that pretty much leaves a indentation on the neck. So but yeah, I'm really disappointed that they did that. They should have just stuck with the magnet. It was working. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Anyway, moving down to the shoulders. Good rotation all the way around. course, you have to mind the outfit. But yeah, 360 degrees and good shoulder shrug, butterfly joints, and all that. Just like the DX19 figure. When we move on down to the elbows, well, before that, it does have a bicep swivel, and that rotates a full 360 degrees also. And the elbow joints are double bend, so you can get a full bend right there. It's got standard Hot Toys wrist pegs. They're a little difficult to work with given the gloves that he wears and the leather covers that cover the wrist pegs. The articulation does limit that, or I should say the forearm gloves limit the movement of the wrist pegs. So there's that. When we get to the ab crunch, she's got good ab crunch. Leans good forward, backward, side to side. Pretty good. Same as the DX19. Good waist swivel. And then when we move on down to the hip to thigh area, it's really good as well. He can kick a full 90 degrees forward, slightly backwards, and pretty good. He can't do the full splits, but he does get a good range of splits in there. So the only reason he can't do a full splits is because of the pants. So, but yeah, and then he does have good thigh swivel, so that's good. I don't know if it's a full 360 degrees, but it's a good amount from what I have articulated with the thigh swivel. And then when we move on down to the knees, same as the DX19, he has a full double bend knees, and when we get to the ankles, as I said before, it's like half ankle cut for the boots, so the movement on that is kind of limited also, but it's decent. You can rotate the foot a full 360 degrees all the way around. He can't bend them too far up, and he can't bend them too far down either, the toes. So, and the ankle rocker, maybe you can move it half an inch from side to side when you rock them back and forth. So yeah. But yeah, I think that covers all of the articulation. So I'm going to give it the same. Actually, I'm going to knock it down a point because of that stupid neck ball joint that they added in. Like I said before, they should have kept the magnetic feature on the neck instead of replacing it with this, because this is a downgrade in my opinion. So I'm going to knock it down a point from what the DX19 had for articulation, which is a 8 out of 10. All right. So that does it for the articulation, and now we're going to move on to the next category. Well, before I move on, I'm going to walk you guys through this pose. This is pretty much the scene where Qui-Gon narrowly escapes the battle between him and Darth Maul on Tatooine, and Darth Maul is just watching him take off on the Naboo starfighter, or Nubian cruiser, whatever it's called. So yeah, he sees it take off, and he's looking up at the sky, watching it leave, and he's about to deactivate the lightsaber. Of course, in the movie, that angle was from the back, so we didn't get a front view. So this is what I imagine he looked like from the front as the jet was, or the spacecraft was taking off. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next category. All right, so now we've made it to the category of accessories. Well, let me just show you guys this pose real quick before I dive into the accessories. Gotta say, I'm really proud of this one. I did myself. He looks really badass. All right, so we're gonna start with the stuff that he has on him right now. And let me just say that right from the get-go, this figure has pretty much the exact same accessories that the DX16 had. All right, so we'll start off with the hands. Same amount of hands as the DX16 had. 10 hands. So, let's see. He has these gesturing hands here. I mainly use them for that one pose where he barely ignites his lightsaber when he's about to fight both Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan at the end of the movie. And then you get this wide gripping hand. I don't know what it's for. It doesn't fit it's too wide for the binoculars. So I don't really know. But anyway, he also has two lightsaber holding hands. One right and one left. The other one's on him right now. And he's also got two force pushing hands or pulling. One right and one left. The other one's on him right now. He's got one left fist. Again, I don't know why they would just give us one. It was the same problem that the DX16 had, one fist. It's whatever, you know. Yeah, if you're gonna give us one fist, like, give us two. It doesn't make any sense just to give us one. It's the same thing what I said on my review of the DX16. But, you know, Hot Toys, they only listen to the big top dogs, you know, the major influencers. So, anyway, moving on. We have two relaxed hands. And, it's the same as the DX9 or the DX16. They all have really good detail on them. You can see all the wrinkles in the gloves, and they look like leather. You see the seam lines. So yeah, real nice. And then you also get the top of the glove with the droid collar on it. So that's nice. Same as the DX16. It came with that too. Moving on from the hands, we get this probe droid, same as the DX16 probe droid, but I think this has better paint detail, if I'm not mistaken. But not by much. The other one was pretty good too, but yeah. And you know, you have to stick this antenna on when you take it out of the box. So yeah, real nice. The only problem is that I don't know if it's just my copy or whatever, but when I had this DX16, I didn't have this problem before, but he doesn't seem to want to stand on the base here. Every time I put him on this base, like, it stands, but it's very wobbly. I already had it fall twice. Luckily, it was on a soft surface, so I didn't have to worry about you know, scratches or anything like that. But yeah, that's bad. You know, I didn't have that problem with my DX16 figure, so that shouldn't happen. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We also get the tool to move the eyes. Standard for any figure that has a rolling eyeball system. And then you get 2 spare buttons, just in case the studs on the belt fall off. And you also get 2 spare wrist pegs, just in case you break the ones that are already on the figure. And you also get this extra long mounting device, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. You basically just put it on the non-light up lightsaber so you could attach it to his belt. But you got to take out the shorter one first before you put this one in. And then you get his binoculars. Real nice. Pretty much the same as the DX16, but these have a different paint job on them. They're more weathered. You could see that it's like more. It's got like a yellow tint to it, whereas the DX16 they were cleaner, and they had a more of a metallic finish. So it's cool that they added the weathering, because you know he was on Tatooine and the sands were blowing and stuff, so it's not hard to imagine that his binoculars got all dirty. So yeah, real nice. And then we get the non-light up lightsaber. It's the same as the DX16. It works the same. You can detach it to make it look like the sliced in half lightsaber at the end of the movie. And I'm not going to show you guys how that works. I already went through it when I did the review for the DX16. So if you want to know how to change it into the damaged lightsaber, just go check out that review. So yeah, you would just swap out this piece and attach it to the long one. So there's that, and then we get the light up lightsabers. Here's the long one. And I gotta say that this is a huge improvement over the lightsabers that we got on with the DX16. Because the DX16 came with the arms, I should say, that were already attached to the lightsaber. You basically had to put the batteries into the arm so it could light up. The reason I say that this is an improvement is because you can move the hand in any position of the lightsaber you want, whereas you couldn't do that with the DX16. So yeah, that's really nice that I don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, it comes with that. You got the long one, the undamaged, and you also get the damaged one, the sliced in half one. But you guys did see in one of the poses that I did have him holding this, and it lights up really good too, just like this one. I think that this lightsaber lights up a little bit brighter than the DX16 that I had, but that all just depends on what copy you get. If you're lucky, you'll get a figure with a bright lightsaber. If you're not, then you'll get a dim lightsaber. So yeah. But yeah, so it comes with all that, and then it comes with an extra head sculpt. This is the primary head sculpt, the neutral one, that looks, like I said, exactly like Ray Park did in Phantom Menace. And it's so awesome. And this is the second head sculpt that it comes with, the secondary one. Also awesome. And I didn't mention this in the likeness, but I love the open mouth. So as you can see, the mouth, he's got those dirty, cracked teeth, just like in the movie. Real nice. And then he also comes with an oversized rectangular base, which I don't really care much for. It's a real space hog, so the only thing that base is useful for is if you want to put Darth Maul in a dynamic pose, like if he's jumping or something like that. So yeah. But other than that, I don't find myself using it. Maybe once in a blue moon, but that's about it. As you guys can see, I got a custom base from Etsy. So I'm going to be using that as my main base most of the time. And then, it's got the flight pole, which I am using so I can mount the USB box for the light up feature. Because unfortunately, the C-clamp doesn't attach to the acrylic rod that comes with this custom base because it's too wide. So I had to improvise. And it comes with the standard C-clamp, which I don't have out right now. And it also comes with the lightsaber blades. As you can see right now, he has the swooshing blades on. He's in the middle of movement right now, so. And then he also has the stationary lightsaber blades, I guess you would call them. So yeah. And then he also comes with his Sith robe. And we already talked about it, and it's really nice. you know, they dramatically improved the robe from what the DX16 robe looked like. Yeah, it fits him real nice. Hugs his body real well. So yeah, love it. And it is a cloth material, and it does have some wires on the sleeve too, so that's pretty cool. Just like the DX16 one. I think that's it for the accessories. Like I told you guys before, I didn't get the Sith speeder bike. I think that's just a waste of money unless you have like space to, you know, miles of space, you know, go for it. But if you're limited, I wouldn't, which is my case. So that's why I didn't get it. I didn't get it when I got the DX16 either. So yeah, I didn't think it was that impressive. So, but yeah, I think that's it for all the accessories. So I'm gonna give it what I gave the DX16 on accessories, and that's a 10 out of 10. I would give it an 11 if, you know, the if I had my score higher, but 10's the limit. So the reason I say that I would give it an 11 is because the awesome head sculpts, the improvements that they did on everything, yeah, it takes it to a whole new level. So, and then not only the head sculpts, but the improvements on the lightsabers. We don't have to, you know, detach the frickin' arm anymore, which was a pain in the ass, I gotta tell you guys. So, yeah, that's real good. Alright, so that does it for the accessories. Now we're gonna add up the scores and wrap up the review. Alright, so to add up the scores and wrap up this review, guys, this figure gets a 51 out of 60. Not the best score, but don't let that perturb you guys, because this is an outstanding figure. So, like, definitely 10 times better than the DX16. The only reason like it got such a score as it did is because the box was a little less impressive than the DX16 box. But you know, it's not a DX figure, which is kind of dumb because it's pretty much the same as the DX16. But yeah, other than that, it's an awesome figure. Highly recommend it if you're a Star Wars fan. So yeah, so here I have him with Qui-Gon for comparison, so you guys can see how he looks beside him. This is how he's gonna be in my display for a while. Alright, so that does it for this review, guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. But until next time, guys, I shall catch you all later on the tube. Alright, bye guys.